Did you see that post?
People are talking.
Here's what's trending on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and here at the Rickey Smiley Morning Show, we want to recognize anybody struggling with mental health issues and help spread awareness about how important mental wellness is. Now, this morning we have the pleasure of speaking with mental health expert and therapist, the one and only Yanetta Spring. Good morning. Hey, Yanetta, good morning.
How you doing?
There you go. How you doing?
All right. Y'all hear me? Good morning. How y'all doing this morning?
Oh, man, we are so excited to have you to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, most people know how important physical health is, but mental health doesn't seem to be discussed as much. How can we be more mindful of our daily mental health?
Yeah. I think we're getting better with being able to talk about mental health and, just really being mindfulness and being mindful of our mental health requires us to pause, so everyone just taking a pause throughout their day, checking in, seeing how they're feeling about themselves, situations, the world. Mindfulness, sometimes we can complicate it, but it's really simple. It's just being presently and consciously aware of what's happening within me and around me. It means being still. And sometimes we don't want to be still because we don't want to feel, right? Because sometimes stillness causes those feelings to come up. So I like to use the acronym for stillness or being still, and it's called Stay Till I Learn to Let Go. Right. So when I can be still and I can learn to identify what's coming up and then let it go without being judgmental or critical about how I'm feeling or what's happening in my world. So I think with mindfulness, stillness is really very important.
That is so good, Yanetta. Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, good morning. Oftentimes in the Black community, mental health isn't taken as seriously as it should be. And I think that we tend to normalize hardship, struggle, overwhelm.
Yes.
We feel like that's just life. Why is this, and why is it important to spread awareness within our community?
Yeah, such a good question. So I think we need to understand the origin of kind of what's placed in us. In Black bodies, and the historical roots surrounding overworking, right, and the connection with being enslaved and slavery, right? So I think a lot of times in our culture, we feel like mental health and therapy needs to be a last resort. Like I need to do everything I can, and when I can't do anything else, then I need to kind of talk with somebody. So I like to introduce mental health as being, it's an option. If you're thinking about it, if you're feeling some kind of way, like talk to somebody. You don't have to wait until you've expended all of your options before you talk to someone. And I think that's a great way to kind of unlearn some of the cycles and what was instilled and placed in us through slavery by asking for help, by not struggling, by not, enduring hardship or thinking hardship is a prerequisite for happiness or success. It doesn't have to be that way.
So what are some of the simple tips that, that may help people reduce stress and anxiety daily?
Because I got it bad. My anxiety is like through the freaking roof. Me and my son, heart racing, heart pounding, like you about to go over the hill of a roller coaster, like every 10 to 15 minutes. I had to yesterday I had to pull over because I just couldn't. I feel like I couldn't freaking breathe. Like, why is this happening to me and happening to my mind? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm so sorry you was dealing with that, Rickey. And one thing we got to understand is that emotions and situations that don't get processed get stored, right? So when our body is responding that way, when we're anxious, basically the past has become the present. So what I've experienced in the past is now showing up in my present. And one great way to reduce your anxiety is to slow down your breathing, slow down your heart rate. If your body is tense, it's sending a message to your mind that I'm not safe, that danger is present, that something bad is going to happen. So I teach a lot of the therapists that I train, as well as the clients that I see, exercise called the wet noodle. So y'all know a spaghetti noodle that's cooked, it's hard, it's tense, if any kind of pressure is going to break. What wet noodle does is you kind of soften, like gradually from the top of your head to your feet, soften the muscles in your body. Just release them and relax them. And when you soften your body and you slow down your breathing, it sends a different message to your brain that danger isn't present. So that's a quick way to do it yourself. But if this continues to come up, you may need to go to a therapist. You may need to talk to them about reprocessing some of that stored trauma or stored stress that's in your body, because what we don't process gets stored, right? So we have to process it.
I was sitting up, Gary, I was sitting up in the doctor's office yesterday, and they were just checking because I had a hard fall, had an accident this weekend. I just went to make sure I didn't have no infection on the wound that I had got. And the nurse trying to talk to me and stuff, man, my heart went to racing. And I felt like I wanted to cry, like, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm looking at my phone, like I'm like something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't.
Yeah.
I walked out to my car.
Like a panic or anxiety attack.
I couldn't pull out my credit card. Finally, the lady saw I was struggling to try to pull out my Blue Cross Blue Shield card. She said, "No, we'll take care of it, Mr. Smiley." She saw that something was wrong. I had to sit in the car for about 10 minutes. Then I felt like other cars was about to hit me. Like I was having a real bad day. But I ain't gonna get into
No. That's because it happens all the time, and a lot of times we don't know what's happening, so we think it's us, and our body is trying to protect us, right? So one way you can kind of work through that, of course, talk to your therapist about it, but just focusing on your senses. So getting something cold to touch, or getting something you could touch, identifying something you smell, naming 5 things that you see, and slowing down your breathing, because your body is on overdrive. It's trying to protect you in some way. So grounding ourselves into the present kind of helps to reduce that. And just watch, your heart rate will go down, slowing down your breathing, all of that helps. But it sounds like that was a panic or anxiety attack.
Yeah, well, when it happened to me, I just get in my car and start driving. I just drove, to clear my head and to decompress.
Right, and that could be a way to be mindful if you can drive and be aware. So not just driving and dissociating, right? But you're driving, you're paying attention to what you see and what you hear. So you got to make sure you're present, because that can be dangerous if you just, not really paying attention to your surroundings. But sometimes driving helps people to regulate because they're having to pay attention, to what's around them. So being present is really helpful.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey.
No, it's all good. I was just curious about the medication part. Is medication an option, Yanetta, or is it just...
Medication is. Yeah, and I talk to your PCP or go to a psychiatrist or a psychiatric nurse practitioner and find out, because sometimes we try to do all this on our own, and sometimes medication can help support you. That doesn't mean that you'll be on it forever, or sometimes you may need to, depending on the situation, but trying to struggle through this and work through it on your own can do more harm than good. So medication is sometimes an option, and it doesn't have to be every day. Some medication for anxiety is just as needed. So it's a PRN, so I may just take it if I'm feeling anxious that day, or if I have something coming up that I think could work me up, then I may use that medication just to support me while I'm using the other tools that I have.
Well, Yanetta, depression is one of the most common types of mental illness. How does somebody recognize that they might be depressed, and what are some ways to get out of the depression space?
Yeah, so I'm glad that, Rickey mentioned the medication, because that may be something that you need. So knowing you're depressed is always look at what's different. So depression can look different for everyone. It's not always that person that's sad, that's unable to get up. Sometimes it could be irritability. Sometimes it could be overworking. Sometimes it could be disconnecting and isolating. So depression looks different, especially for Black people, because sometimes we don't have that option to stop. Or caretakers, we can't stay in the bed. Like, we still have to get up and keep going. So I always look for what's different.
The bills don't stop.
The bills don't stop.
Like you,
right.
I don't care how you feel, how bad you feel. I just want to lay in the bed and think, and to get up, and then your damn job is to make people laugh while you rotting on the inside and being attacked. And then one day you should come on here and talk about the insults to the injury, not just the injury, the insults to the injury that you have to deal with while you're going through this stuff and you still fighting stuff, man. This is like really good to have you on. You know, we're running out of time. Listen, can you let everybody know this is one of the best segments we have done on mental health on this show. Let everybody know how they can follow you and how you can be reached.
Yeah, so you can follow me on all platforms. YanettaSpring.com is my website, and all platforms, Yanetta Spring. You can follow me. I put resources out all the time, and I also have a therapy directory. If you're looking for a therapist, you can find a BIPOC EMDR therapist, and I specialize to work with trauma. So, follow me on YanettaSpring.com, Yanetta Spring on all platforms, and I love to support you.
Hey, she also does speaking engagements, show up or whatever.
Yeah,
and she also, you also train therapists as well. She have if you're a young therapist right out of college and you want some good training, she's one for that too. Yanetta Spring. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you.